Tonight on Cronkite News, Arizona men's basketball reaches the Sweet 16 in the March Madness tournament, but just how far can they go?
Plus, a look at how GCU's men's basketball team ended one of their best seasons in the program's history.
And lawmakers discuss concerns with the current handbook that outlines how empowerment scholarship accounts operate. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Stephen Buxton.
And I'm Sammy Miller. Thank you so much for joining us.
As much as everyone loves a Cinderella run in March, sadly for GCU, it wasn't meant to be. Despite being knocked out of the tournament in the second round, the Lopes put together one heck of a season.
You said it, Stephen. This past season was one of the best in the program's history, and our own Rishi Oza was in Spokane to follow the Lopes to the very end.
Despite a valiant effort, the Grand Canyon University Lopes season has come to an end following a 72-61 loss at the hands of the Alabama Crimson Tide. The Lopes climbed back from a 9-point deficit to take a 3-point lead with just over 6 minutes remaining, but they could not hold on as Alabama held the Lopes scoreless over the last 4 minutes of the game.
The shift came when we were up 3 and they had a 5-point possession. Our inability to get 2 rebounds off missed free throws, and that really shifted the momentum. I think it was deflating for our guys in a way. If we rebound that first free throw, we have the ball up 2. We score, go up 4, all of a sudden that whole dynamic changes, the last 5 minutes.
Tyan Grant Foster and Gabe McLaughlin likely played their final games as members of the Lopes during the loss. McLaughlin and Grant Foster were both all WAC first team this season, but the brotherhood they built with the team is what they are most proud of.
I would not be the man I am today. I wouldn't be the man of faith that I am today without the GCU community, without Coach Drew, without brothers like Tyan and everyone else on the team. I'm just so blessed to have been a part of it and, to be a Lope for life.
That was one of the main things that coaches preached to us. No matter how many points we were down or anything, we just made sure that we stayed together because we knew if we stayed together that we could do anything.
Despite the loss, Coach Drew loved the way his players battled, not just this game, but throughout the season.
There's so much similarities with life and basketball, and they survived out there. They fought out there. They didn't quit out there, and those are characteristics they'll take with them beyond GCU, with their families and life. So I'm just so proud of their effort and all they gave for us tonight and all season.
This was the best season in GCU history. They had 30 wins, they went undefeated at home, and they advanced in the tournament for the first time ever. Even in defeat, the players, coaches, and the school all have lots to be proud of. In Spokane, Rishi Oza, Cronkite News.
While there were many GCU fans in Spokane on Sunday, the Lopes still had a lot of support at home in Phoenix. The electric game day atmosphere was in full effect on the GCU campus. Our Cronkite News reporter Sam Valenti has more on the GCU watch party.
While GCU men's basketball was playing Alabama in Spokane on Sunday, the excitement could be felt at Global Credit Union Arena. Fans stood in line before tip-off, and once inside, they were greeted by the trademark energy of a Lopes home game. A particular game day carryover was public address announcer Paul Denuser, who emphasized the atmosphere recreation.
Everything we do is about the fan experience, and we would have loved it if everybody could have gone to Spokane, but since we can't, let's have a party here at the beautiful Global Credit Union Arena.
Sunday's watch party displayed the connection basketball has with GCU. Cheerleader Rylan Churko-Anderson spoke about the importance of basketball to the university as a whole.
Basketball has been a part of our culture ever since I was here and long before. It's very exciting for us to have such a great support for our basketball team, have our Havocs out here, have our team behind us, have our coaches behind us. It's very exciting to just be a part of that.
As Rylan mentioned, a huge part of that culture is the Havocs student section. Dancer Jordan Goldberg believes that the Havocs are in a league of their own.
The Havocs are one of a kind, the best student section in the nation, and I will take that with me till the day I die because I've never seen anybody care about their team and the university the way our students do and the way our community does.
While the Lopes did come up short against Bama, no doubt the Havocs will be back right here next season. In Phoenix, Sam Valenti, Cronkite News.
Well, GCU was not the only team from the Valley in the tournament. Arizona is still making a run in the Big Dance, and our Paul Schultz joins us now.
Paul, the way this team's playing right now, it looks like they can go all the way.
Yeah, it does, guys. The Wildcats are headed to the Sweet 16, which is an impressive feat, the second time in 3 years since Tommy Lloyd took over the Arizona program. But getting to where the Wildcats are today hasn't been the easiest task. After losing to Oregon in the Pac-12 tournament in 2 challenging games against Long Beach State and Dayton, this team is used to getting tested over and over again, and their resilience has paid off.
We've been doing it all season long, making adjustments, adapting to certain, teams or, schemes that we've been playing against. I don't think it really was a turning point. I think Coach Lloyd has been, working on our culture, working on, different ways we can, attack teams and things like that. So I think we've been doing that all year. We've been working on it all year, and it's been preparing us for this March Madness.
Arizona's 78-68 victory over Dayton on Saturday punched their ticket to the Sweet 16, where they'll meet the 6th-seeded Clemson Tigers. Clemson's tournament resume features a 72-64 upset of 3-seeded Baylor. The question now becomes which star will shine in Arizona's next game, but that's something Coach Tommy Lloyd isn't worried about.
We have a pretty solid 8-man rotation, and the beautiful thing is, I don't have to sit there and worry about one guy playing great for us to win, and that's a real luxury. I know it's an old cliche, but every dog has its day. And in our program, I guess it's every cat has its day. Really proud of these guys. It's an absolute group of winners, and we can't wait to play next week.
And Paul, that game against Clemson should be a good one. I'm excited. It's not too far from home or from our backyards.
Yeah, that's right, Sammy. When you think about the trip from Tucson to LA compared to Clemson, who's coming all the way across the country, you'd have to imagine there's be some sort of home court feel for the Wildcats. And it wouldn't be the first time that Arizona's been to the Elite Eight, the first time since 2015, that is, which funny enough was held in the very same arena.
Every year, March Madness reminds us that everyone has eyes on the games for different reasons. Even Suns forward Kevin Durant was keeping up with the games in progress, just not the way you might expect. KD was actually updated in the middle of the Suns' recent game against the Spurs that Durant's alma mater, the University of Texas Longhorns, were losing in their second-round matchup against Tennessee going into halftime. It just goes to show that even the pros can't keep themselves from getting lured into the madness of March. Coming up, 2 Arizona natives are making noise in some of the highest levels of competition basketball has to offer.
Find out which young NBA star and his highly rated younger brother not only got their start in the Valley, but how their success was years in the making.
I'm Max Williams. As we monitor this system moving through the state over the next 24 hours, we'll see how that affects temperatures this week. Tune in to the full forecast coming up after the break.
Three, 2, 1. Cronkite News. Get real professional experience in areas such as reporting, broadcast editing, and behind-the-scenes production, such as technical director and audio.
Kill the mics.
Or go out in the field and cover important local stories.
Learn and master the English language
in a fun, welcoming atmosphere. Cronkite News. The future starts now.
What Cronkite News means to me is opportunity.
We do news right at Cronkite News, serving a community ethically, honestly, and truthfully.
And we can provide a necessarily different angle, different voice for those people that really need it.
The students, they have a lot of passion for journalism.
I get to do a lot of stories about the Hispanic community.
And we have access to cover all of these sorts of events and get media coverage of all these different personalities and athletes, and that's just a huge thing.
But it's also a chance for people here to be humanized, individuals of all walks of life.
Cronkite News will help take the next generation of journalists onto their next careers.
I am old enough to remember Walter Cronkite.
We're putting a lot of pride on his name because we are practicing a lot of the things that he did.
I think he'd be smiling from ear to ear.
I.
We are Cronkite.
Welcome back. In baseball news, Los Angeles Dodgers superstar Shohei Ohtani spoke publicly for the first time since news broke that his longtime interpreter was accused of running up at least $4.5 million in gambling debts with an illegal bookmaker. The Dodgers fired the interpreter as Major League Baseball and law enforcement investigate the matter. Ohtani said today he had no knowledge of the gambling debts and that his interpreter, Ippei Mizuhara, has been stealing money from his account and has told lies. Ohtani also said he himself has never bet on baseball or any other sport, nor has he asked anyone to do it on his behalf. During the offseason, Ohtani signed a 10-year deal with the LA Dodgers worth $700 million. Local Arizona basketball is continuing to gain steam as more players are making waves in not only the college scene, but in the NBA as well, with two brothers in particular leading the way.
And our own Wilder Adams has more on the history of the Williams brothers and how they both refined their game right here in the Valley.
Two brothers from Gilbert, Arizona are on the rise. Jalen Williams is a young NBA star from the Oklahoma City Thunder, and Cody Williams is a potential #1 pick in the 2024 NBA draft. Padraig O'Brien has trained the two since Cody was in 5th grade and has seen how their bond and work ethic has taken them to new heights.
They were very, very close from the beginning. So they were like, if Cody's in the gym, Jalen's in the gym, and they're always early for workouts. They were getting better. You know, they were progressing. They were moving forward with their games.
Jalen and Cody Williams have a lot of similarities in terms of their versatility and IQ, but the differences in their personalities are complementary and effective.
Jalen's, it's a little more visual, like you can tell he's feeding off the energy of the crowd, but Cody's more of a silent assassin. You know, Cody's going to go down and dunk on somebody. He's just going to go right back down the court and just start playing.
Sam Dwayne was their head coach at Perry High School and remembers Cody Williams' generosity more so than his status and silent assassin nature.
One thing that he went out of his way for after games is for the little kids that are at our games, he would stay and sign autographs and take pictures and social media for those kids. Tremendous person.
Jalen Williams' joy stood out to Dwayne. They used to playfully compare their height, and that lighthearted nature would show even in crucial game time moments.
We were in a very tight game with Brophy for the region, 4th quarter, and he comes over, and this is how he is. He came over. I thought he was going to say, hey, what about this play? What about this? He says, hey, coach. He puts his hand on me and goes, you know what? I'm taller than you now. And I'm like, what?
Tyler Rucker is an NBA draft analyst who has Cody Williams first on his 2024 NBA draft board and believes he needs time to reach his potential, but will ultimately be a great success.
He's just scratching the surface. When you see those lengthy, big guys that are a bit thin, sometimes it takes a little while for them to figure out their body. I definitely think, he has the potential to kind of run the show.
For Jalen Williams, Rucker sees true greatness.
Superstar for me is just you can impact the game in 5 ways. Even if your shot's not falling, you can dominate a game. And I think Jalen Williams has shown that he can do that.
The future for these Perry High School products is limitless. In Scottsdale, Wilder Adams, Cronkite News.
If Jalen and Cody Adams continue this trajectory, it would only help lead more Arizona-based players down this growing path. ASU spring ball is starting up this week, and the Sun Devils are looking to build off the positives from last season after a 3-9 finish. This will be head coach Kenny Dillingham's 2nd season at the helm, while managing the plethora of transfers in and out of the program, plus his new recruits. There are a lot of things he wants to improve on. Injuries all over, but especially in the trenches, played a big part in ASU's little success last year and didn't allow them to practice hard and grow throughout the season week to week.
Is that development piece for a lot of the guys that needed it, we couldn't do it in order to just stay healthy enough to field a team. I hopefully, knock on wood, hopefully there's wood under this deal, that we don't face that issue this year, and that we'll continue to be a team that gets better throughout spring, throughout summer, throughout fall camp, throughout week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, whatever that is. Hopefully we get better and not worse because of that.
I misspoke. It's Jalen and Cody Williams. But spring is in the air. While we're almost at the infamous summer weather, we're not quite there yet.
And our own Max Williams joins us from the Weather Center for a look at this week's forecast.
Thanks, guys. Following a weekend of March Madness and some March rain showers as well, we start off the week with a relatively windy night in store as you see the wind speeds starting off at 14 miles per hour tonight, but those will diminish as the evening progresses. Speaking of cool temperatures, Tuesday brings some lows. 51 degrees here in Phoenix, gets as cold as 21 up north in the Grand Canyon, 23 in Window Rock as well. But we warm up a little bit throughout the day. 71 degrees in Phoenix, 76 is your high in Yuma down in the southwest, and only 64 degrees in Tucson. So why the low temps? Well, it has a lot to do with this system moving through the middle of the state. Hopefully that will be gone by the end of Wednesday, leaving behind just a little bit of cloud coverage through the middle of the state. And you can see how that affects the 8-day forecast. As that rain and those clouds get out of the way, we heat up a little bit with the highest temps coming on Friday. 85 degrees is your high then. Rain moves in during the weekend with 40% chance of showers on Sunday, bringing in a cool start to next work week. From the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Max Williams.
I'm Zariah Cole with a preview of your news headlines. Coming up next, there's new developments in the case of death threats against an Arizona election official. When we come back, find out what local and national law enforcement officials are telling us now about the case.
What Cronkite News means to me is opportunity.
We do news right at Cronkite News, serving a community ethically, honestly, and truthfully.
And we can provide a necessarily different angle, different voice for those people that really need it.
The students, they have a lot of passion for journalism.
I get to do a lot of stories about the Hispanic community.
And we have access to cover all of these sorts of events and get media coverage of all these different personalities and athletes, and that's just a huge thing.
But it's also a chance for people here to be humanized, individuals of all walks of life.
Cronkite News will help take the next generation of journalists onto their next careers.
I am old enough to remember Walter Cronkite.
We're putting a lot of pride on his name because we are practicing a lot of the things that he did.
I think he'd be smiling from ear to ear.
I.
We are Cronkite.
The Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communications Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Welcome back to Cronkite News. I'm Zariah Cole here with your Arizona headlines. A man who sent death threats to an Arizona election official was sentenced to prison today. Leslie Chapman joins us from the newsroom to tell us what this case is all about.
The threats came during Arizona's primary and general elections in 2022. Officials say Joshua Russell sent a series of voicemails threatening the life of an election official in the Secretary of State's office. During a press conference today, the Department of Justice said Russell, who pled guilty to sending threatening messages, was sentenced to 2.5 years in prison. The threats were directed at Katie Hobbs, who was then the Arizona Secretary of State. During the press conference, officials also talked about another case where an Alabama man was arrested for allegedly sending threatening messages via social media to the Maricopa County Elections Office in August 2022.
The department will continue to vigorously pursue anyone who criminally threatens or targets the election community. This behavior is insidious, with potentially grave consequences for individual victims and for the institution of election administration as a whole. These threats must stop. The public must know any criminal threats to the election community will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
A number of other individuals have been arrested on similar charges involving Arizona officials dating back to the 2020 election. In the newsroom, Leslie Chapman, Cronkite News.
Arizona Senate President Warren Peterson filed a lawsuit today against the Environmental Protection Agency over a new pollution rule. Peterson, along with House Speaker Ben Toma and the Arizona Chamber of Commerce and Industry, filed the suit with the U.S. Court of Appeals to stop a new EPA rule that strictly regulates fine particles in the air. Those particles come from things like smoke and vehicle exhaust. The EPA says the new rule will prevent thousands of premature deaths over time. But Peterson says the rule is bad for business and doesn't address wildfires, which he says are the largest source of particulate matter. Arrests for illegal border crossings jumped in February, but still among the lowest of Joe Biden's presidency. According to figures from Customs and Border Protection, Border Patrol agents made more than 140,000 arrests for illegal crossings in February. The Tucson sector was the busiest region, followed by San Diego and El Paso, Texas. Today, dozens of parents are voicing their concerns with the Arizona Board of Education over rules surrounding the Empowerment Scholarship account.
More than a dozen parents sharing their concern with the State Board of Education at a press conference earlier today.
10 days ago, when I discovered the department submitted their new proposed handbook to the State Board, it really shocked me because it said the recommendation was for adoption and we, the parents, hadn't seen it.
The handbook sets down rules on how ESA are administered. Parents say new changes are creating barriers to who can use it.
These restrictions may cause ESA students to not be able to obtain materials and tutoring they once were able to.
Parents also say they are limited to what they can purchase, particularly when it comes to performing arts.
My daughters are in ballet, and so they need ballet shoes, and they're going to need point shoes, and they're quite expensive, so it'd be nice to be able to use those funds if they're available.
Parents are asking the school board to keep the existing handbook until they are able to participate fully in the process.
The Arizona State Board of Education decided to approve the current school year ESA account program for the 2024-2025 school year after pushback from some Republicans and parents on the draft version. An appeals court in New York has granted former President Trump 10 more days to post his bond. After a judge ruled that he fraudulently enlarged the value of his assets, Trump and his businesses were fined more than $450 million. This new agreement that was reached staves off the prospect of the New York Attorney General from taking his assets. That's it for news headlines. I'm Zariah Cole. Back to you, Sammy and Steven.
Thanks, Zariah. Well, coming up next, an impressive show for a rookie player during spring training.
Rookie Wyatt Langford from the Texas Rangers had some major performances this year in the Cactus League, and now he has the chance to continue his dominance. And his hard work is really paying off. We'll tell you how when we return after this quick break.
Find out what's on Arizona PBS at azpbs.org/schedule.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
this is Sun City Garage,
to sports coverage,
against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news.
The bill also gives parents the ability to see,
and entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
As journalists at Cronkite News, we report on stories that matter to you by focusing on the local impact. We dig deeper and work tirelessly to keep you informed.
Live in Wickerburg.
Live in Los Angeles.
In Cleveland. In Washington. In Louisville.
From Jerusalem.
Live in Philadelphia.
From around the world to right here in Phoenix.
At Cronkite News, we report the facts and stick to the truth.
Finally tonight, with the close of spring training means roster cuts, and for one player, it was extra special making it in his rookie year.
He was the 4th overall pick in last year's draft, and now he's been picked for the opening day roster for the Texas Rangers. We're talking about Wyatt Langford, who was drafted from the University of Florida, and he has had a pretty impressive showing during spring training here in the Valley, hitting 6 home runs. So now he'll likely get to play on Thursday's season opener against the Cubs.
That's it for Cronkite News. Thanks for joining us.
And to see top Arizona stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.